And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Daniel 12, verse 2. It is our privilege to understand the great responsibilities that God has placed upon us, so that we shall not be in darkness as to what is coming upon our world. We cannot afford to meet that day without a preparation. But when we think of this great and solemn event of Christ's coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, we should live in great humiliation before God, lest we fail of the grace of God and prove ourselves unworthy of eternal life. We see that the world at large have no thoughts of this great day, and many of them do not care to hear anything about it. But we must meet the record of our lives. We must remember that there is a witness to all our works. An eye, like a flame of fire, beholds us in all our actions of life. Our very thoughts and the intents and purposes of our hearts are laid bare to God's inspection. As the features are produced upon the polished plate of the artist, so are our characters upon the books of record in heaven. We ask you, how stands your character in the sight of God today? Are you preparing your souls for the grand review, that you may have the white robe of character in that day? You cannot afford to indulge in sin and iniquity. You cannot afford to be found a transgressor of God's great moral rule of righteousness. We cannot wait until the judgment before we consent to deny self and to lift the cross. We cannot then form characters for heaven. It is here, in this life, that we must take sides with the humble, self-denying Redeemer. It is here that we must overcome envy, strife, selfishness, love of money, and love of the world. It is here that we must enter the school of Christ and learn of the Master the precious lessons of meekness and loneliness of mind. And here it must be our aim and earnest effort to be loyal and true to the God of heaven, by obeying all of his commandments, and thus be fitting up for the mansions that Christ has gone to prepare for all who love God.